So when you're using a framework like Knockout, you're going to want to approach your animations modularly. Because the thing that you want to avoid, since you're using utility classes, is attaching an animation to a utility class or a string of utility classes, having that follow you to another page and showing up on another element where you don't intend it to. So what modularly approaching animation means is attaching the animations to a class that is a specific animation class that is distinct from the utility classes that are styling the actual element. So suppose that we want to fade in these gray boxes on load or on scrolling into screen. I'm going to create a class called animation fade in. I'm going to add it to this box, but I'm not going to style it there, or I'm not going to describe the animation there. I'm actually going to create a dummy div block. I'm going to give it the same name, and I'm going to apply it here. We're on scroll into view. We will start an animation. I will set this to the class animation fade in. Create a new animation, call it fade in. Now I'm going to set this to affect the class, and then all elements with this class. Now I'm going to set the initial state to 50%. Then we are going to animate it from 50% to 100%. And you can already see that since the class is appended to this gray box, that it's already animating it. So we're going to cut this down to 0.25. We'll say ease in. We can preview. And we've got both our dummy class and the intended element that are fading in. So when we preview this, we see our nice little fade. Now, if we would like for this box to also fade in, we can add the animation class. And there we go. And we can add it to the third box, and anywhere that we want to use this fade in. Suppose we wanted to set it to this entire bottom section. We can have anything fade in using that class. You can even combine these classes to do multiple interactions as long as they're not conflicting with one another. We're also going to look at something a little bit more complex, because something like a hide show on a frequently asked question component is going to require both animations but also targets. So what we're going to do is create a couple of target classes. Well, we're also going to add overflow hidden, because I know that I want to shrink this box and I want the text inside of it to disappear. Also going to add it to the second one. And now we will create, actually I added that at the wrong level. We want it here because we want no padding on this element so that we can allow it to collapse all the way down to 0. Overflow hidden. All right, now we can say target FAQ answer. Also going to add it here. Target FAQ answer. And then also for this plus sign, we're going to say target plus, FAQ plus. And the same here. Now, since we are going to use some specific relationships in this animation, like, parent-child or sibling relationships between the elements, we are going to need to create our dummy divs with the same elements, the same relationships that we intend for the animation. So what that looks like is, since we have, we'll go ahead and create animation FAQ. And that is going to be a sibling to the target FAQ answer. We'll say animation FAQ. Also copy this. So we have our sibling relationship set up. Now we're also going to want FAQ target plus, and we want that to be a child of animation FAQ. So now we have our divs with our classes. So we can start to define this animation on click without interfering with our utility class system. So we'll say FAQ open. I do want to go back out and make sure that I click the class button. So any class that has animation FAQ added will have this functionality. And we will say for FAQ plus, we're going to rotate, and we want only children with this class. We can rotate this 45 degrees. And then for our answer, we're going to resize this. We're actually going to want the height to be 0. And you can see, since we have those classes applied, it's already showing us. So we want to set that as the initial state. And we want the size to grow to auto. So we can preview that. We have our guy spinning. And we have our answer expanding. We want to do one more FAQ close. We'll go back to that same FAQ plus. We can rotate it back to 0. And for the size of our answer, we're going to go back to 0. Save. And we can now delete our dummy content. Oh, well, we might have spoken too soon, because I put the close on the open. Now, second click will be close. And now we will have our proper function. And when we go back in and add our animation FAQ class to the second, let's delete these bad boys. We have two animations that function independently. And as long as we retain those class names, we can apply them to any other FAQs that could be styled completely different. And we'll be able to apply the animation classes modularly wherever we want to. And we don't have to fear interfering with the utility class system.